Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Well, we're back in the basement here, and this is going to be a pretty quick video. I already disassembled this piece and reassembled it after cleaning everything back up, but this simple component fought me for 3 days, and it took many questions asked of people on Facebook and Rudy and I working together to get this thing disassembled, but we finally got it, and I'm just going to go through kind of the disassembly process that we have and then what the future holds for this. We're working on the clutch fork assembly, and it's really quite simple. There's not much to it, but these earlier clutch forks are known for being big problems. So they're kind of a weak design, number one, and number two, the way that they're put together makes disassembly kind of a pain. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we have are, well, we have this clutch collar here, but then we've got a bolt on top and bottom. These are your pivot bolts, and they're wired in place with safety wire. So you have to cut the safety wire, and then these will come out. I did have to heat one of these up to get it out. This one is in really good shape. It's not terribly worn or anything. But this one, if you guys can see, there's a big step wore into it. You can kind of see the line where that step is on the machined portion of that bolt. But these are a specialty bolt. And then the collar comes out. This is a bronze collar. Mine is actually in really good shape. It's got some light wear on the top side here, but other than that, it's in really good shape. So that's the easy part. The hard part is getting the clutch yoke and the shaft apart. This yoke is keyed to this shaft with a 5-inch long 5/16 by 1/4-inch key that basically takes up the entire space inside this portion of the yoke. So what I had to do was I started by using a brass drift on the bottom side through this opening, and I started drifting it out, and I was able to get it to move maybe about 1/2 inch, and then everything bound up. And this was extremely rusty in here. I had taken some emery cloth before I even started driving anything anywhere, and tried to polish the shaft as best I could on both ends of the fork here. And it still, there was so much rust inside this portion that it just bound up. So then what we did was I took it over to Rudy's, I sandblasted everything inside here as best I could, and then I heated this yoke up to try to get it to expand. And we continued to use a driver, and we were able to get it to move maybe another inch. So we got about 1.5 inches of movement total. So from there, we used more heat, and then an air hammer with a flat hammer bit on it, and we tried to drive it further out, maybe got another 1/2 inch to 1 inch of movement. So at this point, we were sitting about like this. We weren't able to move it any further. And there's really no way to jig this up in the press until you get this foot to a point. You know, this shaft has to be driven out far enough to where this foot can clear plate steel that you can set between here. Otherwise, this foot is kind of stuck in the way. So you have to get this thing driven far enough to where you can get a couple pieces of plate steel to be supported on the press. Once we got that close enough to where we could get some steel in there, I was able to insert a steel rod inside here that fits inside the hole and press this shaft the rest of the way out. And then this portion just comes apart. Yep, now it's not going to come apart on me. like that. So then you got your yoke coming out, and the opening inside the top of the casting is cut with a keyway, so the key can come out with the shaft. Here's your key. Here's your clutch brake with pad, or your pulley brake, I should say. And then your shaft. Now my shaft has a significant wear mark, if you guys can see that, where it was riding in the keyway. And then also in this portion, there's a significant amount of wear that, you know, where this rotates in the casting to disengage and engage the clutch. One of the other things I've got with that's a problem is the keyway has been wallered out. So if you can see the key, this should be a snug square fit inside there. But where that key was riding back and forth for 97 years, well, that keyway needs to be built up and recut. So the plan is, oh, there's also, I forgot to cover this at the beginning, but there's a cotter pin that goes through the shaft that kind of keeps the shaft, here I'll show you. Oh, too far. It keeps the shaft from coming out too much. It keeps it in that position right here. And that's where it rides as you engage and disengage the clutch. So, what we're going to do, there's a gentleman, let me adjust this camera. There's a gentleman in, I believe, Carthage, Missouri. His name is Mark Meyer. He completely goes through these clutch forks. He cuts out the top portion here of the casting. He machines this portion out. He has a sleeve that he welds in place here, a steel sleeve. Everything gets welded on the inside. I've got pictures I'll show you guys. It gets welded on the inside. Everything gets built back up. And then there's a bushing that gets pressed in here, as well as in the bottom side, to true up the casting. Then he remachines the shaft, you know, builds up the keyway, or builds up the area here, trues up the keyway, builds up the shaft, trues up the shaft, and then yeah, fixes whatever issues there could be with that. I'm not sure if or what he does with the clutch collar, but I know for a fact that he does have good bolts for the clutch collar, so we'll get that fixed up. And then there's also a system that he devises that involves a spring inside here and a keeper collar on the shaft to help center the shaft on the clutch pulley. So it's kind of hard to describe without the pictures, but the pictures at the end of the video will make the video make sense. So, but everything will be trued up tight and right. So, and there's one final piece. Instead of using a single key, he uses a dual key system so that it's easier to assemble and service. So you're not trying to, you know, deal with one long key that's rusted in place if you ever have to service thing again. It was really a pain to get this thing apart. What I ended up doing to get the key out before this portion came out of the casting, right? Once we got the clutch fork to move, then I was actually able to loosen up the key inside here, and we took a punch and drove this key out of the shaft and collar, and we were able to, believe it or not, we were able to turn the shaft at just the right angle and get this key to come out of the shaft here. and down through the hole this way. So as we got the shaft out the top, we were able to get the key out the bottom. And our plan was, if we could get the key out, we could heat this up and hopefully get it to break free by turning it on the shaft, heating this up and turning it on the shaft. Well, that never happened. We ended up jigging it up in the press, pressing the shaft out, and then we were able to get the clutch yoke out. So that's how everything came apart. It really was not easy. It was a three-day or three-evening battle, and you know, finally got it apart. But this is going to get shipped off to Missouri. Everything's going to get bushed, welded, trued up, made right. So stay tuned for when that comes back, and then when it does come back, the inside of this will be coated with Gliptol. I'm going to coat the clutch yoke with Gliptol, and it'll be ready to go. So other updates. Oh, one last thing. He does machine and install a bushing into the foot as well, or the clutch brake pad casting. So other updates, radiator core, gasket kit, and bolt kit are on the way for the D. So once we clean up the top tank and get that done, the radiator can go together. Still working on the clutch. That is going to be, from my research, it's going to be quite the battle to get the gear off of the clutch pulley, and then we have to pull the sliding collar assembly, I guess I'll call it. We have to slide that off and figure out which one is best to use and put back together with. We have to get the clutch dogs out because the 28 pulley has 2 of the 3 clutch dogs are broken. And from what I can see inside the 27, all of those clutch dogs are intact, but we really won't know until we get them apart, blast them, inspect them for cracks, all of that. And I'm probably going to use the 28 pulley instead of the 27 pulley because the 27 has some chips out of the inside edge. So that's more than likely what's going to happen with that. Yeah, that's really about all I've got. So that's the clutch fork disassembly. It's not easy. The later models, I'm not sure what year it started, but the later models don't have a keyed shaft. It's a splined shaft, just like your A, B, G. Might even be the GP has a splined clutch fork. I think the GP does. I'm trying to think back to when we took Tony's apart, but this keyed clutch fork shaft is really a pain. So for those of you that want to take one apart, good luck. I've talked to a few people that have actually had to cut the shaft in order to get it out in 2 pieces, and then they'll weld on a new shaft, cut a new keyway, drill a hole for a cotter key, and all of that. So not fun, but with some patience and patience, you can get it apart. So anyhow, that's going to do it for this video. That's the clutch fork disassembly, and thanks for watching. Thanks for wrenching with me. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll see you guys later.